Would you like to know what is one of the most important shots that you need to know that you're probably not using in today's modern high-speed game of tennis? Well, if you do, make sure you stay tuned. Okay, so you're probably thinking like, what's this shot that is in modern tennis that I'm not using? Now, let's talk about why this shot's so important. Well, in today's game, everybody's trying to play offense. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about defense when your opponent runs you out wide. But there's another set of defense that's not only defense, but it's defense-offense. You're like, what's defense-offense? Well, this shot is so important because of how much your opponent could be attacking, especially at a high level. But it's so important to learn at any level. And what this shot is called, the type of shot is when you absorb the ball. If you haven't heard this term, make sure you start watching a little bit closer when you see the pros on the baseline or close to the baseline and someone hits them a very difficult ball. I think a lot of people confuse absorbing the ball with taking the ball sometimes on the rise, and it's really not taking the ball on the rise. I think this is where it creates a lot of mistakes, a lot of misunderstandings about what we should be doing. So let me talk about what is absorbing the ball. Absorbing the ball is when someone hits a very deep shot towards you. And what you want to do is basically, like I used to teach my little kids, it's like hot potato. You know, if someone tosses you a hot potato, what are you going to do? You're going to absorb it a little bit. You're going to take the pace and redirect it. I think the big mistake that a lot of players are making when the ball hits really deep, what they do is they get low and try to just swing it, taking on the rise, and they create a lot of mistakes. When you absorb the ball, what you're going to do, your first move is just like a normal forehand. And you can do this on the forehand, backhand, whatever. But it's really important that when I absorb the ball and I split, I'm going to turn and start taking a step back. When I take a step back, what I'm going to do is take the ball on the rise. But instead of meeting it in front, I'm going to take it on the rise. And you can see how my body weight is shifting back, absorbing a lot of the pace instead of challenging the pace and having the ball fly away. This is one of the modern game's most important shots because of how aggressive players are playing. So to give you a quick example of it, it's so important that when your opponent hits a very deep shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to absorb the ball. Now, when I absorb the ball here, I'm making sure that I hit the ball back really high over the net. And you can absorb the ball and be very aggressive with the spin depending on your level. So you can absorb the ball at, let's say, if you're a beginning level, and just making sure you're getting it back high over the net. Or if you're at a very advanced level, you can really accelerate, create more shape over the net. Now, why do we want to create shape over the net? Even though we're being forced and we're giving up a little ground, what I'm trying to do is make sure that when I hit this ball and absorb it, it's going to travel at a bigger arc, more spin, so when it gets back on your opponent's side, it's going to be deep and it's going to push them back. It's like a tug of war. They've tugged and pushed me away from the baseline, so I'm not going to back away. I'm going to hit a heavy ball higher above the net and push them back away. And it gets into this little war of like pushing back unless you get a ball short that you can attack. The mistake most players make is either they're trying to take it on the rise, and what they don't realize is this. They take it on the rise, and they hit it short, which now gives your opponent an opportunity to move in and then challenge you with time. They take away time from you, compared to hitting it high above the net. The other thing is, when you hit it short a lot of times, or if you get it over, most of the time you make too many mistakes of placement, mistakes of time, like hitting it short. Maybe you shank it slightly down the line, leaving the rest of the court open. You don't want to do that. Okay, this is why this shot's so important. So in review, when we absorb the ball, everything's the same. We're going to step back, let the ball come in on us, bounce up, and hit it in our strike zone, lifting the ball to the other side. If you're advanced level, hit it with a little bit more spin so it jumps at your opponent. If not, just make sure you get high enough to push your opponent back. Either way, it's way better to absorb the ball than trying to take the ball on the rise early from this deep position, okay? So this is Kevin Garlington. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it below, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can get more free videos to help you with your tennis game. Go out and play tough.